Okay, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. I am Mark Covert. I am the brokerage sales manager with Insurance Advisors Direct, and it is a pleasure for me to have with us today Augusta, aka also affectionately known as Gus, with us from Medico, and we are going to take you through their hospital indemnity program that has been upgraded and revamped, and we're excited to have it. So, a couple of housekeeping questions. I do have everybody muted. If you do have questions, feel free to type them, and we'll get them at the end of the webinar. So with that, Gus, I am going to get you started here, and welcome.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for having me today. I am going to be going over our ancillary products today, so those are what we're really going to focus on because that's what we're focusing on as a whole this year here at Medico. And we're really starting to change our thinking just a little bit, and we know that hospital indemnity is really our strongest point. So that is what we want to make sure that we're really emphasizing this year and what we're really pushing out to you guys as agents. So if you do have any questions, please just feel free to go ahead and ask them today as we go through here. And as we're going on, if you think of them later on today, then that is great too. Go ahead and send those questions in because we would love to answer them. As we jump in through here, just know that sometimes I am a little bit of a fast talker. So if by any means you miss anything, let us know, and we'll always go back and recap. And actually, when I'm done, I will be able to send this over to you, Mark, and you'll have the whole presentation after that. So there's some really great things. There's some really great pieces that we have today, and it's not just information on the products. We have marketing pieces as well that we'll talk about, and then we'll also talk about how you can go about selling Medico's products just a little bit more efficiently by using that My Enroller. If you haven't already used it, we'll talk about how you can download that and then how you can go about using that in your day-to-day life as well. So as we jump in here, we're going to talk about our hospital indemnity plan first and foremost is what we'll go through. And Mark, if you want to switch me to my Why Medico here so we can start to learn about why we actually do love Medico. So Medico has been in business since 1930, and with that, we feel very, very strongly about our company. This is something that we think can keep growing, but we also know holds tight and will keep our foundation as a whole very, very steady, and so that's great for you as agents. You know that you have a company you can lean on. You have a company that is strong in every field that we have, and whether that's MedSup and hospital indemnity, our dental plan, our cancer plan, there are so many options for you as an agent to make sure that you have a full portfolio of products. One of the best parts about Medico, actually, I think is the best part about Medico, we have a very proactive way of doing business, and with that comes that really accessible and expedient underwriters and ways that you can talk to the underwriters. What you can do, you can always go in, you can find an underwriter, you can talk to them, you can call into them. They will let you call in and ask any questions that you might have as an agent about your client and about their product. And if you need to have a second look, you can do that as well. You can always find your ways through the My Enroller. It's going to always update for you, so it's another proactive way to make sure that you're just really ahead of the game with that. You have myself now as your sales director here, and we have Michigan, and I have a bunch of states, but we're going to be having access to me. You'll have all my contact information by the end of today. It's just overall, our biggest thing is let's develop this partnership between you guys and myself, and then Medico and every agency as a whole to make doing business with us just so much easier. As we do go through our product here, we're going to jump into the hospital indemnity plan, and we're going to kind of jump and look at the market as a whole. So how is the out-of-pocket maximums are decreasing? And if you see this graph, it's going to show us, there's a line graph on here, and it shows us how we're changing over the years. It starts in 2011, and we're up to 2019 on here. We're just getting started in 2020, so we haven't seen a bunch come out yet. But as we finished 2019, we've seen that our out-of-pockets are decreasing as a whole, and that is awesome for our customers, obviously, but it's also showing us still where those gaps in coverage are and how we can go about writing a hospital indemnity plan and really make sure we're covering those gaps. There's some ways I'm going to show you today that make it really, really easy to cover those gaps and how to share that with your customer, and how to make sure that those high cost shares are covered and that we're leaving our customer with a really solid peace of mind, knowing that they have completely customized their product that they have and that they feel really, really comfortable with the hospital indemnity plan that they're going to be receiving. Now, let's see everywhere that Medico is available. So all the states that we're going to see in blue, that's where Medico is going to be available. Obviously, we are here in Michigan, so we have a lot of other states too, but Michigan is going to be one of our biggest states right now, so that's awesome. And I hope you guys are contributing to that already. One of the things that we are doing this year is we are really going by states, and it's exciting to me that we're going and we're doing this My State thing, and we're going to be able to really see how we're growing as a whole. So that's going to be great for you guys. We can watch you grow as a whole. But if you do ever decide to expand into other states, you can see which ones are in blue, and that's going to be really helpful for you. Okay, so we're going to start with the hospital indemnity basics. So that's what you're going to be seeing here. There are 5 basics. It starts with the hospital confinement benefit, though. And I'm going to dive into these really deeply as we start going through our slides here, but just a brief overview. You have a hospital confinement benefit, observation unit, emergency room, transportation and lodging, and inpatient mental health. These are going to be your base benefits here. This is your basics plan. So a lot of times when we talk about the hospital indemnity, the inpatient, that covers your whole base plan here. Just remember that each of these comes as one premium. You don't have to pick and choose out of these 5. So we go to the next slide here, and we have the hospital indemnity part. We have just the confinement benefit here that we're looking at. This is going to pay each day of the hospital confinement. It's going to start on day 1, and then you're going to help your client choose their days. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 21, or 31. Some of those do vary by states, but here you have all of those options to pay starting day 1, and then you get to choose the amount. I will say for Medico, our most popular amount is going to be $250, but right now, actually at the beginning of this year, we started to see a growth to $350 because we know that there can be an inflation on the Medicare side after the year, and we have decided, or your agents have really decided, not myself, that it is better to put that inflation here in the hospital indemnity because it's a lower premium. So you kind of got to think ahead, have that proactive way of thinking that maybe I need to do just a little bit more to have that part of it covered. It's going to be cheaper here than putting it on, say, like a priority health plan in that instance. So what we're moving towards is a 6-day, $350 a day is what we're kind of moving towards in our proactive way of thinking here. The observation unit. So this is that second part of the basics plan. The best part, and this is actually the #1 selling piece of the hospital indemnity plan. That doesn't just come from me, a home office person. I like to really go out and learn from you guys as agents and see what's working for you and what's the #1 thing you're seeing, what's the #1 concern you're hearing. What we have found is that the observation unit is that biggest seller. The reason being is that pays 100% of hospital confinement benefit that you see. That is huge. When we say we have no minimum or maximum hours per stay, what that means is if you are looking at someone like GTL or Aetna, they have 6-hour minimum or a 12-hour minimum. Medico has a 0. So as soon as they go into that observation unit, they're going to start to be covered. That is very, very important for your client because an observation unit can be extremely expensive. They can technically be in an observation unit for 3 or 4 days, and then you're looking at $20,000 to $30,000. You don't want them to have to pay that out of pocket with only a Medicare or maybe somebody else's hospital indemnity. We want to get that paid as soon as possible. That means that you want a no minimum hours and 100% hospital confinement benefit. It's a maximum 6 days per year, but like I said, on average, it's 3 to 4 days that people are staying in that observation unit. Extremely important there. So our next one is emergency room benefit, $150 per day. It just needs to be a covered loss, and they need to be admitted within 24 hours. Now, a lot of people say, okay, but what if they're not admitted into the hospital within 24 hours? Well, then they're going to be in the observation unit. So no matter what, they're going to be covered. It's just depending on which part of it they're getting covered under. So the emergency room benefit is still a great piece. Even if it says admitted within 24 hours, they're still going to be covered. Now, the transportation and lodging, the one that you're seeing here, this is my absolute favorite piece of this whole product. I think that this is, I know it's not the number one selling piece, but I think it could quickly become the number one selling piece. The reason is this is going to pay $100 per day for up to 10 days. So you're going to think $1,000 basically. All your policyholder has to do is travel 50 miles or more from their address that's on the policy. So I'm going to give you an example that somebody else gave me. They had a client and they were in northern Michigan and they were hunting and they had a heart attack and they had to go to a hospital up there. Now, the hospital is only a couple miles from where the accident took place, but they were in northern Michigan and they were from Detroit. So they were over 5 hours from where they lived. And they were covered because of this transportation and lodging. They were there for 3 days. They received $300 for those 3 days. It's a great thing to have. The best part about it is it comes in the base plan. So the super low premium, you're going to get this awesome piece of coverage right here that you don't even have to really go above and beyond to sell to them. It's a great piece. I think it's wonderful. So I will always talk about it for hours and hours. It's a great piece to have as part of your plan. Lastly, with the basics, we're going to have the inpatient mental health benefit. It's going to pay $175 per day for a maximum of 7 days per year. It just has to be a certified inpatient mental health facility. That's all it has to be. And it is covered for mental or nervous disorder and then that maximum of 7 days. Okay, so now we're going to move into the optional riders. And with the optional riders, it's really important to know that you can pick and choose from these riders. You can go about selling them no matter how you want to go about selling them. You can do all riders if you want to, which is very, very affordable because our premium is so low on these riders that it's going to be affordable to go ahead and write all of them, and your client's going to be fully covered if that's the instance. So let's go right into this. The number one rider, it just happens to be our number one slide. I promise they're not in order of popularity, but our number one rider is going to be the ambulance service rider. And this one is so important, and it actually took my own mother pointing out how important this is because it is really, really hard to get somebody else besides a 911 dispatcher to actually answer their phone on the first or second ring of the first or second time you call them and not have them call you back. So if you want a ride that's guaranteed, if your client wants a guaranteed ride to the hospital, they need an ambulance rider. That's all there is to it. This averages less than $3 a month in premium. $3 a month. I don't know about you guys, but if I like to drink Smart Water, and a big bottle of Smart Water is $4. So I can buy water more expensive than I can buy a ride to the hospital, if that's the case. It's an easy sell for you guys. About 60% of our applications that come in actually have the ambulance rider on them. It covers ground or air transportation, and that way it is different than any other policy. With that air transportation, that's what stands out here. It pays $250 per day for a lifetime maximum of $2,500. And then it's 4 days per calendar year. The really important thing to see here with all of these riders and really the base plan is that Medico works on calendar year, not policy year. So if they buy their policy in July, the rest of their calendar year is July to December. It's not July to July. So it starts over on January in that instance. Okay, so our next one here, the outpatient therapy and chiropractic service benefit rider is a two-part rider, really. It's the only one that has two pieces to the rider. It pays $50 per day, and then it's going to be 15 or 30 days for the outpatient therapy. Just note that it's at or days. It's not 15 through 30. So it's one or the other there if we are looking at that. And for outpatient, that's going to include occupational, speech therapy, physical therapy. So you have those three types of coverages. And then the chiropractic services is up to 5 days per year, or per services, sorry. And that just has to be doctor prescribed is all. So if you think about somebody who's maybe in a car wreck, a lot of times they'll be told to go to the chiropractor just to make sure that they're okay. That's something that would be covered. And they can get up to 5 days with that. And a lot of times 5 days is quite a bit, really. When you go to look at it, when it comes to like an accident or something, 5 days is quite a bit. Our next one is the skilled nursing facility rider. This is going to pay three amounts, $100, $150, or $200 per day. up to 50 days, and then it has that one-time restoration of benefits. Now, if you have somebody that has Medicare, they're going to have that 20 days, and then you can actually start this claim on the 21st day. You don't have to start the claim at the time that they go into the nursing home. You can start it whenever you want. If they have med sup, so they have 100 days, and let's say they're there 140 days, their last 40 days are going to be covered. If they have a long-term care, if they have a 90-day waiting period, you can eliminate 50 days of that waiting period by having a skilled nursing, and it's extremely affordable. And I promise you that I'm going to show you an example towards the end of this that shows you how affordable these actually are. So it's not just me talking about it and telling you over and over, hey, it's really affordable. It is. That one-time restoration of benefits, that's going to be after 180 days. It will reset. So if they're off of care for 180 days, they're good, they're golden, they're healthy for 180 days, and then they have a tumble there, they take a slip and fall, they're going to have to go back into the nursing home most likely, and then they'll have the full 50 days restored back to them. So our next one is lump sum cancer. Now the lump sum cancer is one that I really feel strongly about, and I want this to become our number 2 rider this year. That is my push for you guys. We should never leave a home without writing some kind of cancer policy. Medico does have a standalone policy as well, but we also have this very affordable rider for the lump sum confinement here. And we're going to pay 3 different amounts. I'm on a lump sum. Sorry, guys, I'm on a hospital rider. I got ahead of myself, and sometimes I do that. But I'm on the lump sum hospital confinement rider here. And what this is it basically pays you money for going into the hospital. So if they have to go into the hospital and they have a confinement, they're going to receive 3 different amounts that you choose from: $250, $500, $750, just for going into the hospital, and it's up to 3 benefit periods per year. Now we're on lump sum cancer. So sorry, I got ahead of myself. Sometimes I do that. It's a one-time payment. It's the first diagnosis of internal cancer or malignant melanoma, and it's up to age 80. They can have optional payouts from $1,000 to $10,000. And the way that this works, it's only a 2-year look back. So when you write this policy, they're going to look back 2 years. We're the only one on the market that's only 2 years of looking back. And we're going to be able to see if they've had cancer in those 2 years. If they have not, so maybe they had cancer 5 years ago, this will be your only option to get them another cancer plan if they've been free for 5 years. When you write this, it only looks back to the 2 questions, I believe, are have they had cancer in the last 2 years, and do they have it now, basically. So if they're really cut and dry on trying to figure out if your client is healthy. As soon as it's paid, it's a one-time payment, it's tax-free, and then it is depleted off of your premium in that instance. So very, very good sell. I'm really passionate about it. My hope is for you guys as a state to really become that huge lump sum cancer rider. I want you guys to write it. You should be talking about it at every single meeting that you have with your client, just to make sure that they have something in place if something were to happen. If they're on Medicare, they have that 20% copayment, and then they have to pay for drugs. This money can be used towards that. Once it's paid out, it's their money to do what they want to do with it. Then you have your outpatient surgery benefit rider. This is our second most popular rider as of now. It's going to pay $250, $500, $750, or $1,000, and it's up to 2 days per year. When we start to look in the 40 and over, a lot of times you start talking about knee replacements. That's more like 60 to 70, but it could happen for knee replacements. And if they're going to do one, they're going to do the other, and they're usually outpatient. So that's the 2 coverages you could have during a year. They'd want those covered. Those get pretty pricey. So in that instance, they'd be covered under the outpatient surgery, and they get to use their 2 days per calendar year. Urgent care center. So this is pretty easy. If they go to an urgent care center, a minute clinic, anything along those lines, it's going to pay $50 per day and then up to 4 days per year. Very easy. We believe that we have simplified underwriting. There's 9 health questions. They're knockout questions, so yes or no answers. They'll need they'll need an answer of no on all questions to go ahead and get pushed through. We do have some of the questions in the past 12 months. Have they used oxygen, or have they been treated for Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, MS, COPD? That's a huge question, that COPD one. A lot of people, just make sure that your client knows that asthma is not COPD, and they are nowhere near the same thing. That is one thing that's getting hung up quite a bit lately. They are not the same, so make sure we do know that. In the past 24 months, Has their diabetes requiring insulin or injectable medications? Have they been diagnosed or treated for heart attack, stroke, or cancer? Cancer is obvious because it's a 2-year look back there. And then have they been on dialysis treatment? With a lot of those, so those diabetes questions, those dialysis treatments, what they're looking for is, have they had any new medications? Have they had any changes to their medications? So they upped them, just to see if they're trying to maintain being healthy in that instance, or is your client not taking care of their body type of thing. We do have a 6-month pre-existing condition limitation, so anything that is pre-existing right now before they get their hospital indemnity plan will not be covered for the first 6 months. And then we have a 2-year contestability period. So if they file a claim within the first 2 years of their application date, we do have the right to go back 2 years and look at their medical records. Main thing is we're saying, did you lie on your application? Did you say you have asthma and you actually have COPD? If they got a knee replacement within like the first few months, were you maybe told to get that knee replacement before then? It's not that they're looking to get out of claims. They are looking to pay the claim accordingly and make sure that you didn't already know. And when I say you, I mean the client didn't already know those were happening. All right, so let's see how we can actually use this type of policy in a client scenario. So we have Anna here, and she's 65. Her plan has a $6,700 out-of-pocket maximum, and she has a slip and fall. So Anna's going to go to the hospital, and she does not have a hospital indemnity as of yet. This is what it looks like if she did not have the hospital indemnity. She had a 5-day hospital stay at $360 per day, and then she spent 20 days at a skilled nursing facility at $120 per day. So her inpatient hospital stay was $1,800. Emergency room was another $50. She had to take an ambulance, is another $200. That skilled nursing came out to $2,400. All in all, she's going to pay out of pocket $4,450. Now, let's say that you as her agent got to her before that happened, and you wrote her a hospital indemnity policy. You used this worksheet over here on the side. In the top of it, you put what her plan was, that first plan that we looked at, that $6,700 out of pocket. You filled that out at the top, told her what she'd have to pay if she didn't have a hospital indemnity. She said, yeah, that's crazy. I don't want to pay that. All right, well, let's write you a hospital indemnity. So you come down to the bottom of this worksheet, and you start filling in the gaps. You start saying, okay, you need an ambulance rider. You need an inpatient for $250 a day at 5 days. And then you also need skilled nursing to fill in her gaps. So she says, okay, you did all of that, and then you filled it out. You wrote her a plan. Now, if we look at this next one, we take the $4,450 for her total copays under her plan. We subtract Medico's plan of $4,150 that we're going to pay her, and she's only going to have to pay $300 out of pocket. Now, like I stated a little bit ago, we're starting to see that those inpatient stays are moving to 6-day, $350 a day. If we did that in this instance, she's only going to have to pay like $150 out of pocket instead of $4,450. If this is your client and you're using, I'm going to go back a slide, Mark, to where that worksheet is. If you're using this worksheet over here and you see that, it's going to help show your client where their blank gaps are and where they could possibly put something in there for a super low premium and get paid out a lot of money. And I'm going to show you another chart here in a few slides that's going to show you even better. But let's go down here and let's see how we can actually sell Medico's hospital indemnity plan. In the next one here, this is actually that plan I was talking about, that chart I want to show you. So here we kind of adjusted Anna's plan, and we actually changed it to that 6-day benefit for $350 a day. Monthly premium is under $20. So for that $18.80, her potential payout is $2,100. And if you recall, that means she's getting paid on day one. She has 100% observation unit coverage, and if she has to go over 50 miles, which she did, if you recall, she's also going to get that payment for there. So she was there 5 days. She got $500 because she went over 50 miles. Then we add that ambulance rider, average under $3, skilled nursing under $8 a month. You spend more money in that in gas and eating out and going to the gas station for snacks. I'm a snacker, so I always look at my snacks. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could have paid so many things on this monthly premium for the snacks that I eat. So you start comparing it to their daily lives. They're going to think how much cheaper this is instead of just thinking, well, I'm adding and I'm adding and I'm adding. They're going to see that a monthly premium of $53.55 for this kind of coverage and a payout of $14,400 is 100% worth it. This is a huge sell for you guys. It's a great part of your portfolio to have with you and to make sure that you can go out and you can talk about this to your clients. So just a little bit more here, a little bit more on selling this plan. So let's say that the premium alone doesn't really talk to them or the payout doesn't talk to them. You're not speaking their language yet. What about the financial effects of a healthcare cost? And this is over the past 2 years. We did a little bit of research. We kind of went out here. We found this. 44% of people had to set up a payment plan for healthcare costs. So instead of just buying a hospital indemnity and paying a super low premium, now they have to set up a payment plan and probably pay a lot more money to that than they would have in premium. 42% spent all or majority of their savings. An average household of 65 years and older only has $5,600 in savings. They're going to spend a lot more money than that in hospital costs if they have to go, especially if they get a cancer diagnosis. So they could use that cancer lump sum in replace of this savings. They wouldn't have to spend their savings. 27% are unable to afford necessities. So that's like food, heating, housing. So you're up here in Michigan, and I'm actually in Michigan today too. It is extremely cold. It's really cold up here. Now think about if you had a hospital stay and you had to choose between paying rent or paying your heating bill or paying on your hospital stay. If it's like today, you're going to be really upset if you don't have heat, and then you find out later that your agent knew you could have something in place to save you that money and save you that pain of not having heating. It's a great way to sell that. Think about the daily lives. And where you live, you can preach to that all day about you have to choose between a heating bill and a hospital stay. 23% took on credit card debt, and then 7% actually had declared bankruptcy, all because of healthcare costs. But there is such an affordable plan to put into place to prevent all of this. And that, as an agent, that is where your specialty is. That's where you're educated at, and that's where you educate your client as well. When you start talking to them like this just shows them the education you can get for them, and it starts to build that trusting relationship, which ultimately is going to lead to referrals, and that's really what you want out of this anyways. You want to help them, and then you want to get a referral to help somebody else in that instance. But let's keep looking at ways to sell this. You do have some pieces here. You have some marketing support through MIC, and it's called mic.gomedico.com. There's customer materials and there's agent materials. A lot of what we have, especially new things this year, are going to be agent to customer materials instead of Medico to agent materials. It's just going to give you more talking pieces. So you as the agent you can kind of feel like you have a lot more control and you can help that client a lot more in that instance. So you have that worksheet, you have flyers, you have letters, you have emails that are set up for you. There's a skilled nursing facility writer, all sorts of things that you can go about doing to help them out in that instance. And then, so we're going to talk about the My Enroller. In the My Enroller, you can use this anytime, you can use it anywhere. You can easily transmit applications into Medico. And what I mean by anytime, anywhere is you do not have to be connected to the Wi-Fi. So if you are out kind of in the boonies, I know there's a lot of places like that up here in Michigan. They're hard to get to. They're way out in the country maybe, and Wi-Fi is not, it's a little bit scarce out there. It's not so great. You can go ahead and write your policy on the My Enroller, and when you get back to that trusted Wi-Fi, so like your home and your office, a lot of times you don't even have to go back into it. It will automatically submit it into underwriting if it's done and completed. It will go ahead and upload it and get that submitted for you. Ultimately, you get paid a lot sooner. It's always going to have your correct forms and rates and payment options because it updates overnight. So when you get on in the morning and you sync it to your home office, it's going to go ahead and update for you. It's going to encourage you to cross-sell. So a lot of times I do demos, and when we do that, you cross-sell a MedSup and a hospital indemnity or a dental, either one. You're looking at less than 10 minutes of work just by using the My Enroller. Ours is very intuitive. I always say it kind of holds your hand as you go through it, and it's going to highlight what you need. It's going to block out what you don't need. If something's wrong, it's not going to let you go on to the next page so you don't get all the way to the end and realize you have to go back and restart. It's going to help you fix it right then and there. And then you can do banking information on there. You'll get an instant response on there. It's just really, really easy, guys. If you haven't used it, I really encourage you. I almost challenge you to please go use it, especially if you're going to write a hospital indemnity, because you have so many days, you have dollar amounts. It gets really confusing on a paper application. And then also, we can no longer take credit card numbers on paper applications. So if you have a client that wants to use a paper application, it's going to have to be through the My Enroller. So make sure that you are aware of that as well. You can use it on desktop, laptop, or an iPad. So you have lots of options to go ahead and use this My Enroller to your benefit. All right, so product-wise, that was all we have for the hospital indemnity. I know that I'm a fast talker, and I know I overload you a little bit with information, but let's look at what Medico's incentive is. Let's make you some money as an agent. We're going to reward your effort. That's what we're doing. So I'm pretty excited about this one. The first part of it here, so there's two parts to our incentive program, and one actually has nothing to do with the other. You don't have to combine them to get paid. You can do one or the other, and you can do both if you want to. So the first part is going to be the med sup. Let's say you write 5 med sups in a month, so you have to write 5. They have to be submitted and approved in each month to qualify. If they are underwritten, you're going to get paid $100. That means you're going to get $500 all in all, and then whatever else you write on top of that will be another $100. So if in January you wrote 7, you would have got paid $700. If in February you write 8, you got $800. March you write 9. By the end of the quarter, you have $2,400. It's a big chance to make a lot of money, and there are a lot of great rates through Medico up here in Michigan for you guys to write on. If you're in other states, I would be happy to get you rates over there as well. We have a lot of helpful information right now. We call them competitive packages that show you rates by zip codes, and that is great for you as an agent to have because it helps you narrow down where you want to focus at as well. And then we also, the second piece is going to be the hospital indemnity piece. So this is great. Since you just got to sit here and learn about this, and now you learned about how to write it on the My Enroller, you've seen your marketing pieces, you can really start to earn some money off of this quarterly incentive here. There are 4 tiers is how it works. And let's say that I'm just going to use February as an example, but I know that tomorrow is the last day of February. But let's say in February you wrote 8 applications. You'd be paid $25 on those 8 applications. Now, let's say by the end of March, you have written 20 applications. As you can see, 20 is in that tier 3, so those 12 would be worth $50. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to those first 8, and we're going to pay you another $25 so that now they're also worth $50. All in all, for those 20 applications, you're getting paid $50 on all of them, and you're going to make quite a bit of money. That's $1,000. It's an easy $1,000 to make because you get commissions on top of that, and then you get your incentive. Just so you guys know, you'll be only the second office I've got to tell so far is that for quarter 2, this is going to actually be the same. It is quarter 3 and 4 will be different. They will definitely be different, but quarter 2 is going to be the same as what you've just seen. So this hospital indemnity and then that previous slide also for the med sup is going to be until the end of the second quarter. Your tiers, however, will start over on April 1st. So on April, you'll start a whole new quarter. So your tiers will not keep going from wherever you are. So say by the end of March, you're on tier 3. That's where you're stopped for the first quarter as well. Okay, guys. If you have any questions, go ahead and submit them. Mark, if we can go to that last slide here, that's where we have the contact information. If anybody needs anything, go ahead and contact us. The first one is going to be Medico's Agent Services. The 800-547-2401, option 3. That's Medico's Agent Services. And guys, they're great to have that conversation with. They know everything. They know Medico in and out. On average, I love to tell people this, on average, our agent services have been there 40 years. So you're not going to get somebody there that's inexperienced. They all know what's going on, and they're going to have an answer for you so quick. And then you also have your contact at IAD, and then you can also have my contact information. I will make sure that Mark gets it out. So if you need me, if you think, you know what, I just have a quick question for Gus, I'm going to call her or I'm going to email her, I get my question answered, I'm perfectly fine with that. I am good with that because it builds our partnership up even more. So you'll have all my contact information as well. As I say that, thank you so much, guys, for having me on today. I absolutely love webinars. I love getting to talk to our agents and you guys and just kind of spending that time together. If you have questions, let's hear them.
I'm checking right now, Gus, and it looks like you did an absolutely amazing job because I don't see one question coming through here, which is good. But I do want to remind
Awesome.
everybody who's on the webinar today, do reach out to me. That is the main office number at IAD. That is my direct extension. We certainly, for those of you, if you're online today and are not contracted with Medico, we can get that accomplished very quickly and get the necessary materials in your hands to get you selling immediately. So we also have cross-selling systems that are designed to assist in you guys placing indemnity type plans with your clients. We're happy to get you those as long as you're contracted with IAD. So please take advantage of this product. We're seeing a lot of Medicare Advantage sales, and I think it's incumbent upon agents to at least make the offer to their folks to be able to come to the table with an indemnity problem and try and solve it for them so that they're not hanging out in the breeze. And I can tell you a personal story. I have Medicare Advantage clients, and they had some issues, but were able to pass muster because they both were turning 65. And what happened subsequently is they loved the zero premium, but when they both got sick in the calendar year and had recurrent hospitalizations, both of those individuals suffered $6,700 max out-of-pocket losses. So that being said, you can see the value of the indemnity policy. And again, Gus, correct me, but I think we were at $18 and some change for a base policy to get somebody covered at $350 a day. So I think it's a prudent option and an opportunity here. So, and Gus, we do have a couple questions here. What is the qualification for the household discount?
So the household discount, your client just has to live in a household with somebody over the age of 18. Now that person does not have to apply for a policy right then or ever, technically. They just have to live in the household. On My Enroller, you'll have to choose yes or no at the top of your screen for household discount. Super easy to see. It's in big letters. And then about 2 screens in, it'll ask you for their first and last name.
Perfect. And then I've got a second one here, Gus. If someone is having a knee replacement in July or August, can they use this plan?
Nope, they will not, unfortunately. So when they can use the plan, but they won't be able to apply for the outpatient surgery because they already know that they're going to have it. So that, unfortunately, will not be covered. It has to be diagnosed while they already have the plan. They can't know. That's going to fall in that 2-year contestability, and they're going to find that they're already told to have the surgery. So they can get the plan. They can get other riders, and they just not that one, though.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any questions before we conclude today? Those are 2 really good questions.
Yep.
Okay, I'll wait just a couple seconds here, Gus, and then again, Gus, thank you for being with us today. Very informative, and again, for you attending the webinar today. This is an amazing product, and I will say that Medico is the only carrier out there right now covering observation from literally the minute you get into the hospital. Everyone else has some hour disqualifiers on there. So again, a very good niche when offering this up to your clients to let them know they've got immediate coverage from the second they stumble into the hospital. And Gus, we do have another question here. Do diabetics have a 6-month wait if everything is stable?
Yes, they will still have the 6-month wait. If everything is stable, they'll fall in that 6-month pre-existing condition limitation. So they'll still have the first 6-month wait if they are qualified, which is okay, especially if we can get them qualified with diabetes. That first 6 months, it'll fly by for them. And then another note I just wanted to add, because you're talking about the market, and a lot of times people hear that 100% observation with no minimum hours, and they think it's going to affect the premium. Our premium is actually 10 to 20% lower than anybody else in the market. So you're getting a lot for very, very little and cheaper than anybody else in the market, and that's actually a proven stat. It's not just something that I preach hoping to pull you my way. It is proven. So you're getting a lot. Your client's getting a ton, guys, for 10 to 20% lower than any other company.
Yeah, and I want to add something here, Gus. If you're not familiar, for those of you in attendance today, with why observation has become a big deal, it is because if a patient is showed in an admit state and then they go back in for the same condition again after discharge, the hospitals are being penalized for that. So if you are shown in observation status, it is not considered an admission, and therefore there is no monetary or CMS penalty against that facility. So you can see why the observation card is being played here, and it can be played for days prior to you being actually able to be shown in admission status if in fact that ever happens. So again, please offer these indemnity plans to your Medicare Advantage clients and your MedSup folks. MedSups do not cover observation, nor does a Medicare Advantage in the base plan set. So very, very, very critical that you at least allow your clients an opportunity to cover their out-of-pockets, and then you're not going to get that nasty phone call that says, how come I just got this bill for X number of dollars for being in the hospital? So with that being said, again, Gus, thank you so much for being with us today and taking time. For those of you that attended, it's been a pleasure to have you on here. If you do have questions, again, reach out to one of those numbers. Again, that's me on the bottom underneath there at extension 109, and I'm happy to answer those. And finally, again, if you are not contracted with Medico and you would like to come on board, just give me a ring or shoot me an email, and we can get those papers and contracting items in your hands very quickly to get you up and running. And again, take advantage of Gus's money. They're offering up a lot of money here through June, and who doesn't want a little bit extra for summer vacation? So with that, I thank everybody, and we will be talking to you all soon. Everybody take care. Bye-bye.